The bridge across the pond. It was a crisp morning when Maria and her younger brother, Ben, set out for their usual walk through the vast fields of their grandmother's village. Nestled far away from the noisy, bustling town, the village was a tranquil haven. The air smelled of fresh grass, and the only sounds were the whispers of the wind and the occasional chirp of birds perched in the distant trees. Their grandmother had invited them to spend the summer, and after only a few days, the siblings had grown attached to the peaceful rhythm of life here. They explored the fields, the winding roads, and the whispering woods. But their favorite spot was the little pond nestled just beyond the rows of wheat and corn. A small, rickety wooden bridge arched over the sparkling water, the only way across unless one wanted to walk miles around the pond. It was a quiet place, always untouched by the rush of the modern world. The only other soul that wandered through the fields was Old Man Thomas, the village's quiet, solitary figure. The locals spoke of him in hushed tones, saying that he had seen many generations pass and had outlived many friends. But to Maria and Ben, he was just another part of the landscape, always out in the fields, feeding the birds or working on his farm. One particular afternoon, the children wandered toward the pond, where they usually stopped to admire the water lilies or skip stones across the surface. As they approached, however, they noticed something strange. The wooden bridge, which had always seemed sturdy, was now broken in several places. Large gaps and splinters of wood lay scattered around the bridge's base, and it seemed impossible to cross. Maria felt a pang of worry. "What happened to the bridge?" she asked, frowning at the damage. Ben, his eyes wide, peered over the broken wood into the pond below. "It looks like it just gave out," he said, his voice full of concern. "We can't cross now." At that moment, an old, familiar voice called from the other side of the pond. "Hello there, children." It was Old Man Thomas, his frail figure hunched over slightly as he waved from the other bank of the pond. He had been walking towards the bridge, but now he stopped, staring at the broken planks. Maria waved back, noticing his weary face. "Hello, Mr. Thomas. It looks like the bridge is broken. You can't cross anymore." The old man smiled gently, but there was sadness in his eyes. "Ah, yes, the bridge has seen better days. I'll have to find another way around. The road is long, but I suppose it can be done." "But it's so far, Mr. Thomas," Ben said, his young face scrunched in concern. "Isn't there anything we can do to fix the bridge?" Thomas hesitated, looking down at the broken wood. "Well, it would take a lot of work, that's for sure, and a lot of hands. But if you children have an idea, I'm all ears." Maria exchanged a glance with Ben. An idea was already forming in her mind. "What if we make a new bridge, Mr. Thomas? We could find something strong enough to lay across, maybe a tree or something. We'll need help, but we can do it." Old Man Thomas's wrinkled eyes twinkled at her suggestion. "Well now, that's an idea. I've lived here a long time, but I've never seen children take on such a task. But I believe if anyone can do it, you too can." The siblings turned to each other with excitement. "We'll do it. We can fix the bridge," Ben shouted, his usual shyness forgotten in the excitement of their new project. They wasted no time. The first step was to gather materials. They rushed through the field, looking for something that might work. They tried pulling down branches from nearby trees, but they were too thin. They searched the edges of the field, hoping for something stronger. After what felt like hours, Maria spotted something near the edge of the forest. A large, dried-up tree trunk, lying discarded on the ground. "Ben, over here," Maria called, her voice filled with excitement. Ben ran over to her, his face lighting up when he saw the trunk. It was thick and solid, the perfect size for the bridge, but it was too heavy for them to lift alone. "Let's go get help," Maria said. The children hurried back to the village, finding the few men who were still around and working. They explained their plan and asked for help. At first, the men hesitated. After all, it wasn't an easy task, and they weren't sure the children could manage. But when they saw the determination in Maria and Ben's eyes, they relented. Old Man Thomas, who had been waiting by the broken bridge, walked over with the children. The men gathered around the dry tree trunk, testing its weight and deciding how best to transport it. Together, They began dragging the massive trunk toward the pond. It wasn't easy. The trunk was heavy, and the ground was uneven. But with the help of the village men, the children felt a surge of strength. Step by step, the trunk moved closer to the broken bridge. The sun was starting to dip lower in the sky when they finally reached the pond. The men worked together to position the tree trunk across the water, adjusting it carefully until it rested firmly over the broken gaps. It wasn't the prettiest bridge, but it was sturdy, and it would hold. When they stepped back to admire their work, everyone was tired, but pleased. Old Man Thomas clapped his hands together in delight. "You've done it. You've made a new bridge." The village men nodded, looking at the children with admiration. "This is something. We've never had children so determined to fix a problem like this. You two have done the village a great service." Maria and Ben beamed with pride. They had worked hard, and their efforts had paid off. The new bridge, though simple, was now strong enough for anyone to cross. "Now," Old Man Thomas said, looking at the bridge with a twinkle in his eye, "I can finally get to the other side without walking miles. I'll make sure to bring you both something special next time I come by." The village people gathered around, exchanging stories and laughing. It was a rare sight in the village, where life was often so quiet and still. But today, something had changed. The children had not only repaired a bridge, they had brought the village together. From that day forward, Maria and Ben were known as the two who fixed the bridge. The villagers spoke of their bravery and determination, and whenever anyone crossed the new bridge, they would remember the children who made it possible. The old wooden bridge might have been broken, but the spirit of the village had been strengthened, one act of kindness at a time.